Power woman Claire Brown once again joining us in studio. Claire, thank you for coming back again.
Hi, Katrin.
Hi. Of course, you know, we're talking about this holiday season. We've been talking about it for a couple weeks. I know one struggle that many people have is finding connections and you know, if they have to be alone, being alone during the holiday season.
Right.
So for you, you know, what are the relationship trends that we're seeing and what advice would you give?
Right. And of course, I get to see all this based on what happens within the group. And so many times we see people struggling being alone this time of year, and relationships are seasonal and there are trends with our patterns. And so what should we look for? While researching and while writing the book Ring or Fling, I learned that our relationships and behaviors they have patterns. And so the holidays put a lot of stress on our relationships, and the effect of this is that through January and March we have the highest divorce rate filings. And likewise, those already in the singlehood struggle with the lonely during the holidays and the cooler months. And so this is also known as cuffing season. The singles fear the lonely more during the holidays, and they will cuddle up with someone in order to not be lonely. And when spring hits, these relationships will fizzle because they were fear-based to begin with.
So with these relationships, while you're kind of looking for some sort of connection, you know, how are we supposed to be adjusting to these relationships?
Right? You know, how do you make wise decisions? And so I think having awareness of your individual patterns and your own behaviors is the first step. And so in order to not allow your history to repeat itself, we have to create a different way of thinking, which then creates different behaviors. We're a society that is in love with being in love, and reality television definitely reflects this. And so what if we started being in love with ourselves, our friendships, our families, fell in love with the impact that we have on helping others? This creates a mindset to become a more fulfilled person, and you become a whole person. And then we make relationship choices based on logic, not emotion.
So then, Claire, what advice would you give to a friend or someone you know who's struggling right now?
Right, and we can only give advice because we've been there ourselves, right? But in the Power Women group, we are seeing lots of posts from many right now that are seeking marriage therapists, divorce attorneys, and questions on how to meet people that are with those who are single. And what this shows us is the grass is never greener. You can be very lonely in a marriage, and when you're single, you don't always have to be alone. We create our own world. It's truly a choice. So despite your current season or the trench that you're in, know that you aren't alone. Someone else has been there. Whether you're in a relationship or the singlehood, that's not going to change your happiness. And the best thing to do is work on being in love with you.
That is such great advice. Focus on yourself and be in love with yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Claire, well, thanks for the great advice today. Of course, we appreciate it. We're going to be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere.